My name is Will Jackson, and I produce music, and I run a studio. I play instruments, and I help people with their recordings. Basically, that's the nuts and bolts of it, really. I grew up in a musical family in York, and I was always going to do music. And I went to choir school in Windsor, then music college, and I started a degree. Thought, this isn't for me. I want to get out in the big wide world. And so I did that. Went out playing in bands around Europe, and just generally got involved in recording. And I just wanted to learn as much as possible from as many people as possible, just to get a general idea of things. And I worked as a session player on studio sessions. One day I asked an engineer, well, what are you actually doing? You know, can I have a go? And I had a fiddle, and I thought, oh, this is quite straightforward, really. Well, if he can do it, I can do it. So then I got a little studio at home on a 4-track, I remember. And then people started knocking on the door saying, can you do as a demo? So that's how I got into engineering. If you're a music producer, it means what are you actually doing? Well, you're doing so many different things. You're arranging music. You are dealing with artists, so you need a certain amount of psychology. What kind of music producer are you? Are you an autocrat who tells everybody what to do? Or do you sit back and see what develops? I'm kind of the latter. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of influence things a bit, but if there's an emergency, yes, you have to kind of wade in and say something. But that's all part of the psychological side. But what you have to do also is you have to have a knowledge of music. I mean, music theory would be great. You know, if you have a horn section in or you have a string section in, and somebody, like the artist, has an idea for a line for them to play that is not scored and they're not reading it, I have to have the skill to be able to wade in and say, right, well, okay, what you need to do is write it down right there and then and take it to them to play. So music theory is good. Knowledge of instruments, how they work, what key they're in, like brass instruments, you know, a baritone sax, what key is that in, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. That comes with time. Well, I did piano lessons from a very young age. Then I went to choir school, and you're forced to read music within, it comes in about, I don't know, a couple of months. I did theory exams along with piano exams. It's my main instrument, piano. And from there you get the general knowledge of harmony. And then I went to college for music as well, so you carry on the theory there. But then, having got the theory and passed all that, then you learn to break the rules and do it your own way. So, you know, you have to you have to tread your own path. As far as job security goes, there is none. You know, you have to make your own decisions and live with them. I think if you really apply yourself, then, and you do consistently good work, I mean really good work, and really try hard, learn as much as you can, and embrace all sides of it, then you will always be employed. It's the people who expect an easy ride that fall by the wayside. if you get a reputation for doing good work and understanding people and being generally a good person and people enjoy working with you, then you will work. It's the people with attitude that gets up people's noses and they say, oh, no, I'm not going there. Don't want to work with him or her. That's it, basically. And you have to make people feel comfortable. I mean, if I was to arrive for a session, I've never met a band before or an artist, and I come in with an attitude, then it's going to destroy things. And they've got to feel comfortable to perform and give of their best. And I haven't done my job if that's the case. So, you know, you leave your attitude at the door and you go in and you're positive and you want to make things happen. And apart from that, music should be a beautiful thing. You know, it should move people. And that's my kind of, my ethos, really. Production-wise, I have worked in Europe a bit. I've done the odd thing in sort of Germany, Holland, quite a lot in Holland, Finland, and Switzerland. Did quite a big album in Switzerland for a Swiss band. But that came about through work that I'd done over here that had gone into Europe. In this day and age, people do a lot of recording at home, you know, and you think, oh God, is it somebody's kitchen? But then, you know, I mean, obviously it's all contractually tied up and you know where you're going to be, which studio you're going to be in. And usually you'll go out and check it all out beforehand anyway, and meet the band and management or record company or whoever it is. And then you take it from there, basically. So, yeah, it's usually a studio, and you've got to feel comfortable in the place as well. The qualities of a good studio are, it's got to feel right. It doesn't have to be, you know, top of the range. It just has to be good, because I think a studio is only as good as its operator, really. Here, this is the new Soundworks, but we're all part of the Eiger complex. So we've got rehearsal rooms, there's 2 venues, there's 2 studios here. So we all kind of, there's cross-collateral between us all, and, you know, bands who come in to rehearse will probably want to record. People who record here may want to make a video, so they can go into the big venue and shoot a video in there, or wherever, or they can do it in the studio. So there are all the facilities in this place. And there's basically 3 of us who run the studio. There's Ryan and Jack and myself, all musicians. And everybody works together because all we want to do is make some great music and make sure that people are happy to do that and not be too expensive. There's many things I like most about my job, really. It's working with people, making great music, and having something different to do every day. That's it. And drinking great coffee. The biggest challenges are bands, because they're obviously made up of disparate personalities, and some bands have slightly more disparate personalities than others. And maybe there's a bit of tension within the band. I've got to kind of diffuse that, be a sounding board and a peacemaker. I mean, it doesn't always happen. This is occasionally. You know, maybe a band has been together a very long time, and there's maybe 2 or 3 of them who are like an old married couple. I've got to kind of diffuse that to try and get the best out of them as performers. So that can be very draining. Work-life balance, it's very difficult, because being freelance, you are at people's beck and call quite a lot of the time. I can obviously turn around and say, no, no, I'm not doing that. And you can only do that so many times before somebody said, well, he's a bit difficult, I'm not going to work with him. I mean, I work weekends some of the time. At the moment, I'm doing lots of weekends. And then I'm going off on a quick tour of Ireland with a band for 4 days over a weekend. So, you know, I'm not at home. So what I have to try and do is compensate by taking some time off during the week. So there is some time away. Satisfaction of getting a great result. Playing around with buttons, going in a darkened room, spending all day pressing buttons and having a nice time. That's the perks. Okay, the first one is learn as much as you can. Number 2 is do as much as you can. And number 3 is be a good person. I think that in Leeds, it's a kind of, you know, I mean, it could be a major musical city, but never has been. We've had sort of, you know, peaks and troughs, and we've had things like the Kaiser Chiefs, but before that we had people like the Sisters of Mercy and the Mission, and those were kind of peaks. And we had the Pigeon Detectives, which was what, 10 years ago, and because of the music business doing its downturn, then people have stopped selling records so much. So we need more, you know, cross-fertilization between people. But I think, you know, people are so busy burrowing away in their own places, you know, just getting on with the work, rather than spending time together and as a community. But maybe that's just the nature of the beast. I think, you know, you can make your own destiny, if you like, as far as this goes. Leeds, you know, it just needs to start a trend for great music that people are going to buy into. I think if you're going to make a go of being in the music business in Leeds, then just do it.